The history of ramen can be traced back to China, where wheat noodles were first introduced in the 17th century. It wasn't until the late 19th century, however, that ramen as we know it today began to take shape. In the early 1900s, Chinese immigrants in Japan began to open small noodle shops serving a variety of Chinese-style noodle dishes. These dishes were eventually adapted to suit Japanese tastes and preferences, leading to the development of the first ramen noodle dishes. One of the earliest forms of ramen was called Shina soba, which means Chinese soba. These early ramen dishes consisted of Chinese-style wheat noodles in a soy sauce-based broth topped with sliced pork, bamboo shoots, and green onions. Over time, different regions of Japan developed their own unique styles of ramen. For example, Hokkaido-style ramen features a rich, miso-based broth and thick, curly noodles, while Tokyo-style ramen has a lighter, soy sauce-based broth and straight, thin noodles. In the post-World War II era, ramen became increasingly popular and widespread in Japan. The invention of instant ramen in 1958 by Momofuku Ando, the founder of Nissin Foods, further cemented ramen's place as a beloved staple of Japanese cuisine. Today, ramen is enjoyed around the world, with countless variations and styles available. In recent years, ramen has even become a trendy and sought-after dish in many countries, with ramen shops and restaurants popping up in major cities around the world. Tonkotsu ramen is a type of Japanese noodle soup that is made with a rich and creamy pork bone broth, thick wheat noodles, and various toppings such as sliced pork, green onions, and boiled eggs. The history of tonkotsu ramen is a relatively recent one, dating back to the mid-20th century in the Hakata district of Fukuoka, Japan. In the early 1940s, a ramen chef named KAWABATA began experimenting with a new type of ramen broth made from pork bones. He found that by boiling pork bones for an extended period of time, he could create a creamy and flavorful broth that was unlike any other ramen broth at the time. Kumahachi Kawabata, 1890 to 1963, was a Japanese businessman and the founder of Ippudo, one of the most successful and well-known ramen restaurant chains in Japan. He was born in Fukuoka Prefecture in southern Japan and began his career as a schoolteacher. After leaving teaching, Kawabata worked in several different jobs, including as a factory worker and a coal miner, before he opened his first restaurant in the city of Hakata in 1945. The restaurant was initially a humble establishment that served only ramen, a dish that was not yet widely popular in Japan. Kawabata's tonkotsu ramen quickly gained popularity in the Hakata district and soon spread to other parts of Japan. In the 1950s, a Hakata native named Tomaru Sawada opened a ramen shop in Tokyo and introduced tonkotsu ramen to the capital city. From there, tonkotsu ramen became popular throughout Japan and eventually spread to other parts of the world. Today, tonkotsu ramen is one of the most popular types of ramen in Japan, and it can be found in ramen shops and restaurants all over the world. While the basic recipe for tonkotsu ramen has remained largely unchanged since its inception, many chefs have added their own unique twists to the dish, resulting in a wide variety of tonkotsu ramen styles and flavors. There are several reasons why tonkotsu ramen has become so popular both in Japan and around the world. Tonkotsu ramen has a rich, creamy, and savory flavor that is highly satisfying and comforting. The broth is made by boiling pork bones for hours on end, resulting in a deep umami flavor that is hard to resist. This makes tonkotsu ramen a popular comfort food that is perfect for cold or rainy days. Secondly, tonkotsu ramen is highly customizable. In addition to the pork bone broth and noodles, it can be topped with a variety of ingredients such as sliced pork, boiled eggs, green onions, and bean sprouts. This allows customers to create a ramen bowl that suits their personal tastes and preferences. Thirdly, tonkotsu ramen has a certain degree of novelty and exoticism for non-Japanese diners. Its unique flavor profile and cultural origins make it an intriguing and exciting dish to try for those who are unfamiliar with it. Finally, the rise of ramen culture in recent years has also contributed to the popularity of tonkotsu ramen. Ramen shops and restaurants have become increasingly common in many countries, making it easier than ever for people to try different types of ramen and discover their favorites. If you're ever in Japan, this is where you can get the best tonkatsu ramen. There are many excellent places to find tonkatsu ramen in Japan, but here are a few notable destinations. Fukuoka. Fukuoka is widely considered to be the birthplace of tonkatsu ramen, and it is still one of the best places to try this rich and creamy dish. Many local shops serve their own unique take on tonkatsu ramen, and the city is also home to the famous Ichiran ramen chain. Hakata. Hakata is a district of Fukuoka that is particularly renowned for its tonkatsu ramen. There are many excellent ramen shops in this area, including the original Ippudo location founded by HACHI Kawabata. Kyoto. Kyoto is known for its unique style of ramen called tantanmen, which is a spicy version of tonkatsu ramen that originated in China. Many ramen shops in Kyoto serve this delicious and unique dish. Tokyo. Tokyo is a great destination for tonkatsu ramen lovers, with many excellent shops offering this rich and flavorful broth. Some notable shops include Menya Musashi in Shinjuku and Kyushu Jungara Ramen in Harajuku. Kumamoto. Kumamoto is a city in Kyushu that is famous for its own unique style of tonkatsu ramen called karako, which is characterized by its spicy flavor and thick noodles. Overall, Japan is a great destination for anyone looking to explore the world of tonkatsu ramen. With so many excellent shops and regional variations, there is always something new and delicious to discover. But if you want to skip the flight to Japan, here's a recipe for your taste buds. Here's how you can make tonkatsu ramen. Here is a detailed recipe for making tonkatsu ramen at home. Ingredients for the broth: 4 to 5 pounds of pork bones, neck bones and trotters are best, 12 cups of water, 2 to 3 inches of ginger sliced, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic crushed, 1 to 2 onions quartered, 1 to 2 scallions roughly chopped, 1 to 2 carrots roughly chopped, 1 to 2 stalks of celery roughly chopped, 1 to 2 dried shiitake mushrooms, 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 to 2 tablespoons of sake, optional. For the tare seasoning, 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of mirin, 1/4 cup of sake, 1/4 cup of bonito flakes, 1 to 2 cloves of garlic grated, 1 to 2 inches of ginger grated. For the noodles and toppings, fresh or dried ramen noodles, chashu pork sliced or chopped, soft boiled eggs, sliced scallions, nori seaweed sheets, and menma fermented bamboo shoots, and this is optional. Instructions: start by cleaning the pork bones thoroughly under cold water to remove any impurities or blood. Place the bones in a large pot or Dutch oven and cover with cold water. Bring to a boil and let boil for 10 to 15 minutes, then drain and rinse the bones. Refill the pot with 12 cups of water and add the pork bones, ginger, garlic, onions, scallions, carrots, celery, and shiitake mushrooms. Bring to a boil and then lower the heat to a simmer. Skim off any scum or foam that rises to the surface. Let the broth simmer for at least 8 to 12 hours, stirring occasionally and adding more water if necessary. The longer the broth simmers, the richer and creamier it will become. Once the broth has simmered to your desired level of richness, strain it through a fine mesh sieve to remove the bones and vegetables. Discard the solids and return the broth to the pot. Add soy sauce and sake to the broth and let it simmer for another 30 minutes to meld the flavors. While the broth is simmering, prepare the tare by combining all of the tare ingredients in a small saucepan and simmering for 10 to 15 minutes until the flavors meld together. Cook the ramen noodles according to the package instructions and divide them into bowls. Add the tare to the broth, starting with a small amount and adjusting to taste. Pour the hot broth over the noodles and top with chashu pork, soft-boiled eggs, sliced scallions, nori sheets, and menma if using. Your delicious homemade tonkatsu ramen is now ready to enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click down below, subscribe to my channel for more of my latest videos, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.